Hi guys, this is Mrs. Gregory trying out a new program on my computer that lets me record and show you a PowerPoint at the same time. I hope it works and it will help you understand what we did in class. So for those of you who weren't in class on Friday, the way we started class was by getting out some crazy objects that I found around my house that no one knew exactly what they were. And we got into teams of 3 and we had to make an infomercial using those objects. So we had to tell people why they needed the object, what their problem was, and how we were going to solve their problem with this object. So that is a form of persuasive speech. And that's what we're talking about this week. So persuasive speech is when you're trying to persuade someone to either buy something or to do something or to change their mind somehow. So we see this in the presidential election. People are trying to convince you to vote for them. We see it at stores when employees are trying to sell you something. All kinds of different ways persuasive speech is used, and you probably try to persuade your friends of things sometimes that you're right about something and they're wrong. Even with the gospel, we're trying to persuade people to believe. So there are different methods to do this. The one we're going to use is called the motivated sequence. So it goes through a simple sequence of 5 steps that will help the person make a decision to do hopefully what you're asking them to do or buy what you want them to buy. So I'm going to go through the process using an example of a car or a used car and someone at a car lot trying to convince you to buy a car. So here we go. So the first thing you're going to do in your motivated sequence speech or persuasive speech is get people's attention. So that's the same thing we did on our last speech. You always want to start with something other than my name is Mrs. Gregory and my speech is about, because that's boring. So you always want to come up with a way to get people's attention by asking a question or stating some crazy fact they won't believe or telling a story, anything that will help them think, I want to listen to what this person has to say. So that might be one sentence or it might be multiple sentences depending if it's a story or just a fact. If you do a fact, please be sure that you tell where you got your fact. You can't just say everyone struggles with seeing things that are far away. That's just your opinion and it's not necessarily true. But if you say so-and-so magazine in their December episode said that 80% of people struggle seeing things that are far away, then that's okay. But you don't want to just make a statement that we don't know how you came up with that. So you want to get people's attention. Basically, you're saying, hey, listen, you have a problem. So you're bringing to attention that they have a problem. That could be one sentence, like I said, or several sentences. The next thing is you're going to establish their need. Now, in this step, you're going to explain their problem to them. We're going to use the example for this outline of a used car or a car salesman. So when you go into a car lot, the first thing the person's going to do first is get your attention and try to make you like them. And then they are going to tell you about your need. So if you drove this lovely vehicle into the car lot and I was the used car salesman, I would be like, hey, it looks like you have a problem here on the right front of your car. What happened? You had an accident. Oh, well, you're planning to fix it. Well, you know, if you try to fix your car, you're going to have some problems with it. The air conditioner might not work, the value of the car goes down, etc., etc. I'm going to give you evidence of the problem by pointing it out to you and explaining the problem and what the repercussions could be if you don't do something about your problem. So that's my second point. I'm establishing their need and showing people they need a solution. Next, I'm going to say, look, I have a solution that will help you. And I'm going to show you a nice shiny new car. I'm going to say, if you drove this car, these things would happen. I have a car that uses less gas, it goes faster, it looks better, and it will help you to not break down on the side of the road and put you in danger when you break down and things like that. I'm going to try to convince him that this is a great solution to their problem. Next is called visualization. So this is where I try to show them, if you do this, if you buy my car, for example, this is what the result will be. And on this, a lot of times you should concentrate on what they're going to feel, not just like you will have a new car, but you will feel happy and confident, because people, if you're selling something, people usually buy with their heart and their emotions and not necessarily their brain. And used car salesmen take advantage of that, and so do a lot of other people. So you say, if my solution is implemented, this will happen. If it's not, then this will happen. You'll still be driving that old beat up car that might break down on the side of the road, etc., etc. So you want them to see themselves with the solution and how much better their life will be with this solution you're proposing. Next, we have action. Action is when you tell them what you want them to do. So in the case of a car salesman, the car salesman is going to tell them he would like for them to buy the car. And he'll say, all you have to do today is sign this paper and put $500 down, and you can drive away in this car, and your problem will be solved. So you give them the steps that they need to follow. You'll see that right here at the bottom. You tell them which steps they need to follow. I'm not great at drawing with this yet. What steps they need to follow in order to make it happen. So this is when you're trying to get them to apply your solution to their problem. Finally, you want to have a concluding comment. And this comment, you want to make it count. You don't want to just say, thank you, that's the end of my speech. You don't want to just finish with something boring. You want to really send in the punch. So make it count. Convince me to do something that you want me to do with a really bold and good statement about what you want me to do, so that I really feel like I'm doing the right thing. This is Martin Luther King, great speaker, could convince people of almost anything because of his passion and his great arguments. He was able to convince people to do things that would help change society. So persuasive speech is not just for selling used cars, it's changing perceptions, changing people's opinions about different topics. It's used a lot in politics, of course, but for the purposes of our class, we're not going to take on any big, heavy topics. There are many, many heavy topics we could try to persuade people about, things like abortion or whatever, same-sex marriage, or other really heavy topics that you can't get into in 3 minutes and really do a good job. So we're going to keep our topics really simple and things that you don't have to do a lot of research on, like we've talked about in the past. So let me give you an example of a couple of topics, but I want you to come up with something that's all yours. If you have trouble, you can email me and I'll help you. Here are a few topic ideas. The first one, the problem, kids eat too much junk food. And the solution that you would propose could be something like, you need to stop eating junk food and start eating fruits and vegetables. Or it could be, you should not eat fast food. Or it can be a lot of different things. You don't have to use my solutions or even my problems. I just want to give you ideas. Another problem, teenagers are on their phones too much. So the solution could be something about putting your phone away at 8 o'clock each day and not getting out until after school or something. Another problem could be athletes get dehydrated in the summer and don't play at top capacity, and the solution could be something, provide mandatory drink breaks. They may already do that, I don't know. Or whatever solution you could come up with. A lot of your athletes, so you can probably come up with some kind of problem that has to do with the sport you play and some kind of solution. So in conclusion, your problem can be something where you have a product, you can even make up a product if you do a good job, that will solve a problem. Say you make up a solution to some problem that you have around your house, and it has to do with creating a product. You can even mock up a product, like make something and present it as your solution. Or your problem can be just like a problem like kids eating too much junk food or people on their phones. Any type of problem will work. You don't have to try to sell me a product. You can also sell me an idea, like the idea of eating fruits and vegetables or the idea of putting my phone away, but convince me that I really need to do it and it's going to make my life better. That's your goal, to convince me this thing you're trying to sell me on, whether it's an idea or a product, is going to make my life better and make me want to take that idea or take and buy that product. So if you have any questions, you can email me. You should have my email address, and write me if you need more ideas. Otherwise, the outlines are due on Friday, but since you are getting a late start, you can do it on Monday if you want to send it to me. Go ahead and send me your outline. Try to make your outline more of a bullet point outline and less full sentences, because we're going to transfer it onto note cards before next Friday, and I can show you how to do that. I might send out an email like this showing people how to do that. But putting complete sentences on note cards isn't a great idea because it's written so small and crowded that you can't really read it. So for Monday for you guys, I want you to turn in the outline that follows what we just did using your idea on your paper, and it can just be bullet points. I don't want you to write big long sentences. So you will have to think through what you're going to say about each point, but I don't want you to write that out right now, or even in long sentences, because then you're tempted to read it instead of talk. And you can't really sell something very good if you're reading it. It's just not very compelling. So let me know if you have questions, and thanks for letting me try out my new computer program. Bye-bye.